Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is Ehsan, and in today's video we're going to solve another IELTS reading problem. It's better for you to have this book in front of you, IELTS 13. We're going to solve from test 2, reading passage 2. Have a pencil and take notes while watching this video, and it's better to turn off any distractors. I'm going to give you some tips and strategies to deal with this kind of problems. And it's better for you to smile and make yourself relax if you're at home or in your dorm or wherever you are, because this is really important to have a positive feelings, completely positive feelings, especially during your IELTS exam. So if while you're practicing you have a smile on your face, make yourself relax or whatever, this is gonna really helpful during your IELTS exam. You have to have a practice for being positive. This is really important to reduce the stress or anxiety during your real exam. If you're new here, please give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell, so whenever I upload a new video you'll be aware of it. Let's jump into it. So as always, I'm gonna split the screen into two halves. On the left hand side you can see the passage, and on the right hand side you can see the questions. So questions 14 till 17. This is about which paragraph contains the following information. This is the most difficult question type. This is something like a list of headings, so I'm gonna leave that to the end, and I'm going to use some of the information from the previous questions to solve this problem. Okay, this is really important to leave that to the end, because at the beginning it's really difficult and it's going to drain your brain, and it's going to burn out much of your time. Okay, question 18 till 20. And before I explain, this is really important for you to choose which type of question you're going to start with. It's really important. So we're going to make some time for this planning to what type of question I'm going to start with. Question 18 till 20, it's about look at the following research findings. This is really important to look at the research findings. It's not about the statements of these scientists. Okay, it's about research findings. It is somehow difficult, but not as difficult as the first type of questions, but just leave it there. Question 21 until 26. This is a gap fill questions. This is the easiest ones, so I'm gonna start with the easiest one. Oxytocin research. All of the passage is about oxytocin, so this is not going to help me. But how can I find where to locate the answers? These are questions 21 to 26. Maybe one can almost say that this is the end of the paragraph, the end of the passage, but this is not always the case. But be careful what we can look for easily. This is the number 2005. It's really easy to find it. Okay, all right, this is not the first question, it's not related to first question, but this is really easily to find. So I'm gonna find this one, and then maybe a paragraph before that I'm gonna start my reading to locate the answer. So where we can find it, just scan the passage. So here it is in 2005. This is the time. So I'm going to start with the first paragraph, because this is relating to the maybe question 22. I'm going to start with the first paragraph. But before that, just read the question. The earliest findings about oxytocin and bonding came from research involving what? Research involving what? Oxytocin is a chemical, a hormone produced in the pituitary gland in the brain. It was through various studies focusing on animals. So from research involving what? Involving animals. I try to show you the answers on another color, so it's make it easy for you to find it. Okay, it was also discovered that humans produce oxytocin during what? Humans produce oxytocin during what? Maybe instead of humans they can paraphrase it, use men or women. Produce oxytocin during what? This is where we can predict the answer. Okay, during a time, a specific period time. Okay, it's important to have a prediction about what is going to be your answer. That scientists first became aware of the influence of oxytocin. They discovered that it helps reinforce the bonds between prairie wolves, which mate for life, and triggers the motherly behavior that sheep show towards their newborn lambs. It is also released by women in childbirth. Look at the whole this sentence. Released by means produce. Women means humans. During what? During means in here. Mean is childbirth. So the answer is childbirth. You see, this is how we can find the answer. Childbirth. An experiment in 2005. So now I had to go to that time in which participants were given either oxytocin or a what? A means we need a singular noun here. Okay, this is single and it's related oxytocin or something else. So moving forward, in a groundbreaking experiment, Marcus Henrichs and his colleagues at the University of Germany asked volunteers. This is the name of the scientists that we had to look for the next questions. Okay, so I'm gonna somehow make it clear that for myself for later on. Asked volunteers to do an activity in which they could invest money with an anonymous person who was not guaranteed to be honest. The team found that participants who had sniffed oxytocin via a nasal spray beforehand invested more money than those who received a placebo instead. So someone who had sniffed oxytocin via a nasal blah 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 who received a placebo instead. This is something else, placebo instead. So given either oxytocin or a placebo. This is something else, and this is also a singular noun. So question 24. However, later research suggests that this is not always the case. A study at the University of Haifa. So this is another study. So I'm gonna find Haifa. Where it is, where we can find Haifa. The next paragraph, Haifa, where participant took part in a what? Took part in something, maybe a ceremony, maybe something related to this, and it had to be singular because of a. Okay, singular noun. This is how grammar helped us. So, found that when volunteers played a competitive game, so this is what they took part. They took part in a game. So, question 25. A study at the University of Antwerp. First, look at located Antwerp. Where just a scan, just find Antwerp. Where it is? Here it is. This is Antwerp. You see, just locate where the answer is. Don't waste your time. So, showed people's lack of willingness to help what? People's lack of willingness to help what? Revealed that people who had received a dose of oxytocin actually became less cooperative. Reveal that means show that. Okay? People who had received a dose of oxytocin actually became less cooperative when dealing with complete strangers. You see? Lack of willingness, less cooperative to help what? To help strangers. Another answer to another question. And finally, question 26. University of Amsterdam. First, find Amsterdam. Here it is. Revealed that people who have been given oxytocin consider the blank that are. Be careful about are. Are means it had to be a plural in here. Are familiar to them in their own country. Okay, here. Amsterdam in the Netherlands discovered that volunteers given oxytocin showed favoritism. Dutchmen became quicker to associate positive words with Dutch names than with foreign ones. You see? This is where you probably find the answer. And for country, it uses Dutch. And it said that a Dutchman became quicker to associate, means familiar, positive words with Dutch names. So we need the plural. Consider words that are familiar or consider names that are familiar. So this is names. It's about meaning. Now it's about meaning. First the grammar helped us, then the meaning. Okay. Here, we finished these gap fill questions, and just an important tip. Sometimes they use this kind of informations for the matching headings or which paragraph contains the following information. So probably you're going to choose this paragraph where I had the my answers in these paragraphs, and maybe some of these paragraphs are the answer for this one in here. Okay, we're gonna look at it at the end. Okay, now relating to this summary. So now question 18 till 20. So we're going to find research findings relating to these scientists. It's important to notice that, because sometimes we're looking for a statement, so we can just find the inverted commas to what that person, that scientist said. But here about research findings, by focusing on that, you can narrow down your research. This is really important skill. So, for example, for Marcus Henriks in here, we can here find this, found that, the team found that is relating to Marcus Henriks. Just let me read the questions. People are more trusting when affected by oxytocin. Oxytocin increases people's feelings of jealousy. The effect of oxytocin varies. From one type of person to another. All of this is important. So, now we're looking for the research findings. The team found that. So this is the sentence that you had to focus on it. The team found that participants who had sniffed oxytocin via a nasal spray beforehand invested more money than those who received a placebo instead. I'm going to write it down in here. Invested more money, which means more trusting. When you invest more money, which means you are more trusting into that situation. So for 18, I'm going to choose A for the answer. The answer is A. So, just locate the other scientists. Here again, Henriks, but you had to look for the research findings. Something found that. Together, the result fueled the view that oxytocin universally enhance the positive aspects of our social nature. No. So another scientist, Simon at the University of Haifa, found that. You see, found that. When volunteers played the competition, those who inhaled the hormone showed more pleasure when they beat other players and felt more envy. It's completely obvious what is the answer when others won. So it's about jealousy, feelings of jealousy. Jealousy means envy. So this one is B. And let me just write the paraphrasing. Jealousy means envy, and helped us to find the answer, which is B in here. Okay. Now, another scientist guy, Jennifer Bartz. Jennifer Bartz, which is a lady, not the guy, sorry. Again, found that. It's important to notice that. Found that. And maybe here shows that. And we have left with just one question left. The effect of oxytocin varies from one type of person to another. So here it says that New York found that it improves people's ability to read emotions, but only if they are not very socially adept to begin with. Her research also shows that oxytocin in fact reduces cooperation in subjects who are particularly anxious or sensitive to rejection. So this is some kind of a hard question to answer, and I'm gonna rewrite what I read. First, found that it improves people's ability to read emotions, but only, I'm not going to write it down, but only if they are not very socially adept to begin with, but only a type of personality, okay? And then also shows that oxytocin in fact reduces, just I'm writing in a summary, reduces cooperation. Again, in subjects who are particularly anxious or sensitive to rejection. You see, put these two together, found that it improves people's ability to read emotions in some type of personality, and also oxytocin reduces cooperation in some other personalities as well. So the effect of oxytocin varies from one type of person to another. I know that this is a hard question. This is hard to find it, but I think in this writing I'm going to make it easier for you to understand why I choose C for this question. So C is the right answer for question 20. Okay? Now we have left with this which paragraph contains the information, which is I told you already, this is the hardest one to answer. But now when we remain this to the end, we can set something interesting about how I can come up with the answers relating to these questions. First of all, I use paragraph A, B, C, D for the previous questions. So I have left with paragraph E and F. I love to use all of the paragraphs for the questions. So probably at least two out of 4, the answer is going to be E and F. So these are the paragraphs that I had to scan for it. Okay, this is the first thing that I can set. Another interesting thing is that usually IELTS use this kind of information for this, which paragraph contains the information. And we already have something in our mind, even with the scanning or skimming, we already have in mind something happened during oxytocin research. And let's just first show you some of the keywords that we are looking for. Reference to research showing the beneficial effects of oxytocin on people. Reason why the effects of oxytocin are complex. Mention of a period in which oxytocin attracted little scientific attention. Reference to people ignoring certain aspects of their research data. So, first of all, mention of a period. If you have a very limited time, you can easily find this one. Mention of a period. We have just mentioning just one period in 2005. That is the right answer. It's really easy to find. And maybe if you wanted to be certain, attracted little scientific attention. Oxytocin's role in human behavior first emerged in 2005, in a groundbreaking experiment, and his colleagues at the University of London asked volunteers to do an activity in which they could invest money with an anonymous person who was not guaranteed to be honest. The team found that participants who had sniffed oxytocin via a nasal spray beforehand invested more money than those who received the placebo instead. The study was the start of research into the effects of oxytocin on human interaction. For 8 years, it was quite a lonesome field. Which means it is less attractive. Harris recalls, now everyone is interested. These follow-up studies have shown that after a sniff of the hormone, people become more charitable, better at reading emotions, and blah blah blah. So this is the right answer for this question, paragraph B. And maybe I should go to the end of this paragraph, because I noticed this one in here. People become more charitable, better at reading emotions on others' faces, and at communicating constructively in arguments. Together, the results fuel the view that oxytocin universally enhances the positive aspects of our social nature. Positive aspects, which means beneficial effects of the oxytocin on people. I know that this is not easy to find it, but you can have already told you can have this information. Here it says that, or a placebo reinforce the belief that the hormone has a positive effect. You already had this. Okay, so it's not really easy to find it. Now, as I told you, paragraph E and F. E and F. We have left with these two. Probably the answer for 15 and 17 is E and F. In which order, we're going to find it a little later on. There were signs of these subtleties from the start. Barthes has recently shown that, and we're focusing on reasons why the effects of oxytocin are complex, or reference to people ignoring certain aspects of their research data. These are what we are focusing really. Barthes has recently shown that in almost half of the existing research results, oxytocin influences only certain individuals, or in certain circumstances. So this is certain aspects maybe. Where once researchers took no notice of such findings. No notice of such findings means that ignoring. So this is going to be E for question 17. And for the last paragraph, perhaps we should not be surprised that the oxytocin story has become more perplexing. Perplexing means complex. So F is the right answer for question 15. Okay guys, this is the end of this video. I try to come up with some ideas to make it really easier for you, but these are just techniques that I use over time. You had to be master on it, and maybe sometimes it is difficult to find the answer, but I try to give you some tips and tricks to make it somehow easier. But you had to practice a lot, practice and read a lot, of course, to become a good reader, to comprehend the passage and answer the questions. I hope you find it useful. If that's the case, please give me a thumbs up and share this video with your friend. Stay tuned with the next video. Thanks for watching.